Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, gang. Welcome back to Quality Candor, simple, honest to God, free thinking reviews, because what other review should there be? I'm your host, Jake, and today, in lieu of an actual review, I'm going to be explaining my, for lack of a better word, modus operandi for this entire program. Just give you the ins and outs of what I like, what I don't like, and how I'm going to be covering all that here on this channel. I felt it was probably the only appropriate thing to do because I think it's nice to give people an idea of what they're in for before we dive into this wild adventure. That, and also to get me some time so I can start actually prepping something resembling a schedule. So without further ado, let's get into those 3 key points, for that is how we're breaking it all down. 3 key points. Let's go. When it comes to what we will be covering on here, it can be summed up in a sentence. If it's old, weird, and awesome, chances are 10 to 1 I dig it, and I'll cover it. While the films of the past 20 years haven't exactly been my cup of tea, almost everything from the 40s through to the 90s is. Not a knock against more contemporary affairs, however, some are goddamn great, but I feel a certain pull toward the 20th century. As far as the old goes, I'm a fiend for film noir and a guilt-free admirer of the 50s teen flicks courtesy of studios such as American International. As far as the weird goes, I'm a cult film fan, so that ought to cover everything from Mecha Michael Jacksons to Tetsuo the Iron Man. And when it comes to awesome, I worship at the usual altars: Bronson, Eastwood, Stallone. In the end, one of the big goals is to make the channel an eclectic hub of all sorts of cool films I want to share my thoughts on, no matter how well known or absurdly obscure they may be. When it comes to what I'm not going to be covering on this channel, I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not here to rag on explicitly shitty movies unless I feel like it or if the film really deserves it. In spite of what the channel's name and the fact that I stole the banner from Rotor may lead you to believe, Quality Candor is not your one-stop shop for schlock. At least not what I'd consider the genuine article. I'm a pretty big fan of guys like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and a fair few of the internet critics of the late 2000s and early 2010s that have made their name with nothing but a camera, snark, and a film to rip into, but I don't think I have the endurance to willingly subject myself to an onslaught of garbage. Hell, I like to think that I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I'll even try and give some of the more harshly critiqued films I like a fairer shake. But the point being that, unless it really catches my attention, or ire, I'd rather talk about shit I like rather than shit I hate. But trust me, if a film needs a flogging, I'll be there with the cat o' nine tails. And when it comes to how exactly I go about reviewing films, don't expect a conventional approach. I'm running this channel based on a simple philosophy: review the film on its own terms. I do not believe in a one-size-fits-all approach, which has led to my own dissatisfaction with a fair few reviews I've noticed as of late, and is basically half the reason why I even started this channel to begin with. If a film sets itself up as one of hard, explicitly stated rules, then breaking those rules will certainly catch my attention. But on the flip side, if a film is more an exercise of style over substance, well, that's fine, provided you brought a compelling style along for the ride. After all, one does not simply watch a Dario Argento flick for the plot. It's just that simple. So if you come here for mainstream pop cinema analysis that gives Andy Warhol's empire a run for its runtime, I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. And that about covers it. If you like what you saw, give the video a like across the web. Links in the description to the channel on YouTube, Dailymotion, Rumble, and BitChute. And if you want to keep up to date on channel news, follow me on Twitter at Candor Quality. As always, thanks for dropping by, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.